no way, given the current configuration, that the BJP can reach anywhere close to majority on its own. That's out by the sheer logic of numbers, by the sheer logic of what they have done. And after a point, reality does begin to catch with you. How often can you invent numbers on unemployment? Ajit is here. The way the Prime Minister was struggling to invent numbers about unemployment in the Parliament, I thought this was one of the most innovative performances. Finding numbers about unemployment from nowhere. How long can you do this? So these things are beginning to catch up. And yes, certainly the numbers would fall. But that to me is not all that we need to think about. There's something deeper that we need to think about. And that brings me to the last part of what I wish to talk about, which is beyond 2019. Beyond 2019 is about taking up the most serious challenge, namely to begin to ask ourselves, why did this Swadharma of India come under this onslaught? I believe that most liberal secular Indians have managed to persuade themselves that this was a bad dream, this was an accident that happened. Somehow, this person who didn't deserve to be the prime minister, it's like the American liberals who think that Trump is a bad dream. They've all convinced themselves that it's a history which has gone wrong. History will correct itself and come back to where it should have been. I suspect that Indian liberal elite is no different. We believe that somehow a bad accident has taken place, a wrong person has come to power, you have to trip him out of power and things would be all right. Nothing could be more mistaken than this. Mr. Modi's rise to power and the current regimes coming to power and exercising the power the way it does is the result, I would not say inevitable because there's nothing inevitable in history, but it is the product of a series of mistakes, historic mistakes committed by the ruling elite of this country. And by ruling elite, I mean left, liberal, secular elite. Like Mr. Trump's rise is a result of the American liberal elite being completely out of touch with the population of America. Like Brexit is the result of the British elite not knowing whose country they were living in. Similarly, Mr. Modi's rise to power is a product above all of the post-independence Indian elite being out of touch with popular sentiment, with popular opinion, with the people themselves. They got initial lease to rule because people like Nehru were deeply trusted, they were charismatic, and Nehru could have, in many ways in the first 10-15 years, done what he liked. He decided to align with Soviet Union, but if he had chosen to align with USA, the country would have equally easily accepted it. He said he wanted mixed economy. If he had gone for something else, it would have been accepted. The liberal elite had a long lease to begin with, and it misused it. Specifically, I think on 4 issues, the liberal elite, the liberal secular, I misuse the word liberal somewhat, but let's say the ruling elite of India got its cultural politics completely wrong in 4 ways. 1, it undervalued the currency of nationalism. We made nationalism into a joke. Most of educated, especially English educated Indians, were kind of non-aligned vis-a-vis nationalism. It's there, some people think about it. This is like the European elite which thinks the nationalism is the worst gali you can give someone. In Europe, if you want to really abuse someone, you say this person is a nationalist. So to say that someone is a nationalist is to say that that person is parochial, that person is anti-immigrant, maybe a secret racist, all this coming together. This is not what Indian nationalism was all about. We have inherited one of the most positive, rich, cosmopolitan nationalism in this country. And we gave it up. We gave up that currency. We gave up that language. We made nationalism into a word of abuse. 2, religion. I think we seriously we seriously misunderstood our religions, specifically the Hindu religion. I know it's risky to talk in a group like this and to be seen to be offering a defense of Hinduism, which is not my intent today. All I'm saying is that India's secular elites disconnect from popular religion, popular consciousness, reached a proportion where a believing Indian thought that they were being ruled by aliens. This is the extent to which we pushed it. Secularism looked like another name for atheism. And in the name of secularism, secularism was either a name for deracinated intellectual activity cut off from our own people, or politically it became the name for a very instrumental minorityism. Any attempt to defend minorities was called secular, instrumental, whichever way you needed to do it. Third, we seriously neglected our languages. The relationship of Indian elite to Indian languages could be a subject of another full lecture. I think it's colonial, straight away. What we have done to our own languages. Our nationalist elite, our freedom struggle. Please remember, most of the leaders of our freedom struggle were educated in English. Most of them read English. Most of them could speak English. Most of them wrote in our languages. Most of them maintained very deep relationship to the literature and legacy in their own languages. And today, we've come to a stage where we have a strange hierarchy of languages in this country. At the top sits the monolingual illiterate elite. Those who know only one language, that is to say English, and those who can speak any Indian languages as if they were speaking to a rickshawala, as if they were speaking to, and then the more you can make a public display of your discomfort with any Indian languages, the more you go up in the cultural hierarchy of this country. This is a fact. So, no country would, a monolingual deficiency would be privileged over multilingual felicity, which has been our cultural tradition. So, I'm not making a case against English language. I do think it's one of our languages. We need to absorb it like we have absorbed so many languages in this country. But I'm simply saying the cultural heritage of this country is multilingualism. What has happened to it? Which other country in the world forces all its children to take an alien language as a medium of instruction? Show me one book on pedagogic practices. Show me one book on cognitive psychology that says that learning in a language other than your mother tongue is a great thing. But we all practice it. So our relationship to our languages. And finally, related to that, a relationship to our cultural heritage in general. An educated European person, that person may go on to become an engineer, a